Hello guys, welcome to my channel Analytics with Ashish. So in last video what we have seen actually is that what is MLOPS, just an overview of MLOPS. MLOPS is basically a systematic way of handling a machine learning life cycle. Machine learning life cycle is a basically combination of different stages: scope, data, model and deployment. Scope, where you define the problems, define the project requirement and set the accuracy metrics and all. Data, where you collect and then do all the things with data, create models and deployment. We were focusing mainly on deployment side. Deployment, there are two major challenges. One is on ML and statistical side. Second one is on software and engineering side. In statistical sides, we have data drift. Data can change gradually or it can change sudden. We have example like in sudden change, like in COVID-19 situation, all those credit fraud detection model, they started to fail because there was a sudden change in behavior of the consumer, the way they use their credit card. So that is data drift. So as a part of deployment, we should take care of those options as well. In software engineering side, we need to take care of certain things. First, we need to decide whether it is a real time or batch. If it is a real time, the result should get into milliseconds, microseconds. In batch, you let it run over time and then you generate the score. We have cloud or on premises. What is the resource, CPU, GPU, memory, and then we also need to take care of the security and privacy issue. Now let's move on to the next part, which is a deployment pattern. Okay, so like I said, in this series I'm going to more talk about deployment. So the first one is like there are two options. Either you totally deploy a new things, a new product or new model which you are doing for the first time. Suppose you created a search engine and then you are deploying that model. Suppose you created a sales prediction model and then you are deploying that model for the first time. Okay, and the other way is that you have something existing and then on that you are adding some feature or some improvement on the one which is already deployed. Okay, so these are the two cases on very high level. One is like the new one and the other one is existing one. So the takeaway from both of these actually, okay, no worries. Yeah, so there are two sides. So now let's try to understand what we can do. So the first way to do the deployment is the shadow mode. So what happened in shadow mode? So that's the beginning actually in shadow mode, where we have lot of human interaction. Like I'm going to talk about different mode and then we can decide which mode is useful. I'm just giving all the options. So one option is shadow mode, where the human interaction is more important. Here human are the one who make the decisions, and machine learning algorithm, that ML model which we have created, is basically just shadow it, actually try to learn. So like for example, like we have human and then we have machine, not H&M. H stands for human, M stands for machine or model, we can say here in this case. And now there are two outcomes, right? If either human decision and machine decision matches or it does not match. If it matches, for example, like human is saying that okay, this product is, or the result is 0, and machine is also saying okay, this is 0, or human is saying the result is 1 and machine is also saying the result is 1. So the outcome is matching. Okay, suppose there is certain model where can be only two options, either 0 or 1. Human is saying that okay, it should be 0, and machine is also saying, or model is also saying it should be 0. Here machine is human is saying it should be 1, machine is also saying it should be 1. So that's good. That's the ideal way, that it is working fine. But the other case, when human is saying something like 1 and machine is predicting as 0, or human is saying 0 but machine is predicting as 1, so that is where we know that there is a problem. In this case, this is a problem, but still the whole decision or the decision will be based on human. He is the person is the human is the main decision maker here. Machine learning is kind of just following the human just to check whether that model is working fine or not. So it's like a testing or a probation period for the machine learning model before we take it to the deployment. You know, so like this is one phase where once we create the model, we take some time to see if our machine learning model is good enough to take into the production. Suppose we agree that okay, our machine learning model is doing good, and we decided to take it to the deployment or productionize it. We are okay to take it. So the other thing is, other approach we should be taking care is we should gradually increase the traffic. So we should start from less. For example, like you just limit your traffic to 5%. Okay, you deploy your model and then you just limit your traffic to 5%. So in this way you have less data and then less risk, and then you observe, you monitor, and then see if there is a problem. If there is a problem, you can easily identify and then you can take care of it. But if it is on a bigger level, then it can create a problem. So you can increase from 5% to 15%, 25%. And once over the time you have enough confidence, once your confidence on machine learning has increased, then you can make it like fully. Okay, that's one way. And now let's take the option of when we have something, the other case, like when I was taking that we have the existing one, like this one. So in this case, suppose in this case we go with something called blue and green deployment. So what happens, we have data and then we have something called router. We can take that imaginary router, and then we have two way. One is old model, or we call it blue, and the other one is new, or we call it green. So this router can decide which way we should pass the traffic. So the data comes, and then suppose the router has decided to go with this one, green one, and it closes this, it allows this one, the traffic is going into the new one. And if some problem happens, then we can simply just close this one, we can shut this down, and then we can start this one. And then we till time, so like we are not stopping anything here. So the model is working here, the old one, and then we can fix the new one. So this way we are not stopping anything, so flow is still there. So the advantage with this is this method is, we call it rollback. So if there is any problem with the new one, we roll back to the old one. That is what we are doing. The other thing we can do is that we can also combine this with the previous method, that is this one. Like when we are creating this router, and then when we are routing to the green one or the new one, then we can start with something smaller, 5% traffic, and then we can increase to 15, 25%, or then once we are sure, then we can make it 100%. And this is based on the assumption that we have both the services on, old one and new one. When we are doing the new one, we are keeping the old one as well for some time, till the time we get the confidence on the new one. And it is important, so we don't affect live customers, So that's basically the different ways of deployment. And let's talk about another thing, which is degree of automation. Because basically in machine learning model, what we are doing, we are including automation. So degree of automation, the first initially it started with only human, where human were taking or making the decision. Then what we did, actually we can use human, and then human will and machine learning model will shadow human to learn. Okay, and then we can confirm that okay, machine learning is doing good or not good. So it's like a training. So machine learning is acting as a training. It is just following human, and then we will check the performance of machine learning if it is working fine, like if it is giving the right result. But here still, like, human is the main decision maker. The third one is where we say AI assistance. So this is another level. So like this is kind of progress, how it is evolving over a period of time. Earlier it was only human, then we started, then we introduced machine learning model, which is just checking. Then we have AI assistance, where machine learning model will help to human to make decisions. Suppose if there is any kind of problem in the prediction, or like we have data, and then if the data in order to generate the output, if it has any kind of issues, then machine learning will highlight that issue, and then and it can bring that issue on notice of human, and then they can make the decision. So that is AI assistant, where it is assisting human to make the decision. Here it was not assisting at all. It was just like following, and human were making decision and machine were making their decision. We were not even looking. Machine learning was having no contribution. It's just that we were checking that how good is the machine learning model in this case with human. But in this case, we are taking the help of machine learning model, and if there is any kind of issue, then machine learning will let machine learning model highlight or bring it to attention of a human, and then human can decide whether there is actually a problem or not. Then next comes the partial automation. We call it partial automation. In partial automation, what we can do is, again, we will let machine learning model to take the decision, and then what we do is, like, we check the confidence. We check the confidence of machine learning model, if it is high or if it is low, because it will be doing the prediction, but we can see how confident it is in making that prediction. If it is high, then we take the machine learning model's decision, whatever it says. If it is low, then again here we can bring it to the human, and then human can decide like whether what should be the decision in this case. So that's the partial automation. And then the next step can be full automation, where machine learning model are taking the full control. So from human, like totally human, all human, to all machines. So that's the cycle. It was only human, then human plus machine learning, then for AI assistant, then partial automation, and then full automation. So that is the deployment, different patterns. In next section, I will talk more about this deployment. For now, thank you. I hope you learned something from this video. If you like, please like, subscribe. Thank you.